have drafted a helper. So at the multiple request of a single person, I'm trying to record the lectures. I'm not promising that I'll keep this up, but there is, for the moment, a spying device sitting here, which should only record me. I mean, like, basically the size of the blackboard and whatever I'm saying. Of course, if you're having loud or confidential conversation next to the device, it will record those. Okay. You all made it here, so that's a good sign. Apparently, some people do find out how to navigate the mess of study plan or whatever. So, welcome to crypto. So, I'll be your lecturer for this semester. My name is Tanja. If you want to find me, I'm sitting in the Meta Forum, so that's the Math and Computer Science building. I'm sitting on the 6th floor. My room there is MF 6.104, and if that wasn't long enough, it's part B. But sometimes I'm not in this room. For instance, now I'm lecturing, so if you want to find me, it's easiest to send me an email. So if you want to meet me for whatever reason, asking questions or something, so please shoot me an email. You can use my TUE email address, but my normal email address, from which you'll also get a reply, is tanja@hyperelliptic.org. So on that domain, I will also have lots of information about the course. You should already have seen this, so if you log into Canvas, then all you see in Canvas is go away, nothing to see here, go to my homepage. And on the homepage, sorry for the long URL, but you can click it in a bookmark. So that's at hyperelliptic.org/Tanja/teaching. And then this course is CS number 17, so that's Crypto for Security, and the year is 17. One there to get very clear. So that's where you're going to find, there's still some seats at the front here, sorry. No fancy back row seats, you have to come early for getting the good seats. Setting up fast. So there you'll find, well, notes about the lectures. I always do photos of the boards. Not guaranteed to keep this up, but maybe videos. Now that's stuff that you basically don't need if you're here now, because I mean you're present, so you actually see the exciting live. However, this is also where I'll post homework sheets and exercise sheets for the exercise sessions. So you will need to go there every once in a while. Well, once a week. Plus all kinds of links to books you might find useful, lecture notes you might find useful. So take a look. Other stuff. Other stuff includes old exams, so if you want to practice for how to best pass this course, then you'll find the exercise sheets from the exams. I do not post ever any solutions. This is more relevant closer to the end of this lecture, but if you want to practice for the exams, you can always send me what you think is a solution, and then I'll send you back corrections. Rather than you looking at the solution first, oh, I would have done it exactly the same way. I might regret this, given that we have kind of quite a few people, but for now I'm keeping this up, so no model solutions, but invitation to send me what you think are the solutions. So, links, old exams. lecture notes. So last part, you can email me. What you think are solutions. Okay, more practical stuff. So Mondays we have lectures, Thursdays we have 2 hours of exercises, followed by 2 hours of lecture. For the exercises, you should bring a computer. It's not guaranteed that you always will need a computer, but probably you will need a computer. So Monday, 3 and 4 is always lectures. Thursday, block 5 and 6 is exercises. Make sure to bring a laptop. And then 7 and 8 is more lectures. So I'm putting the lectures in 7 and 8 and the exercise in 5 and 6 to highlight that the exercises are important. So during the exercise sessions, you will actually explore some parts, and you will find out some of the things we will afterwards write down formally in the lectures. So you should really come to the exercises. So if you have to make a choice between the two of them, come to the exercises. The lectures you can read later on. But really come for those because, well, you'll invent stuff yourself. And once you've done it yourself, you'll remember it better. There's nothing block 1, 2. You're now grown-ups. So this is officially code for the 3rd year, and in 3rd year we do believe that our students are sufficiently motivated to do a little bit of work outside classes. So there won't be anybody entertaining you here on Monday 1, 2. However, well, it's a normal 5-credit course, so of course you're expected to do a little bit more work than just sitting there. I mean, your bodily presence is not sufficient to cover the course. You should also do some work. All right. Anything else? Right. Homeworks. Count 30%, so that's something. There will only be 2 sheets. And I'll ask you to team up with at least 1 person. So the groups for submission should be size 2 or 3. I think we can figure this out like when you're doing the exercises. If you don't know anybody, you'll find somebody. There are lots of people here. And I want them electronically and encrypted. Because it's of course encrypted, so you should do some practical cryptography. So submit by email. And the important part is encrypted email. So to me, and there's another, there's a teaching assistant called Gustavo Vanegas, who will also be here on Thursdays. I'll do a little bit about what this means later today. So if you have heard about PGP, that's the kind of encryption we're looking for. If you have not heard about PGP, this is one of the things you will learn. Okay, now, is there any question about the practical stuff? No? I mean, those of you who have managed to get to the homepage, you have seen most of these things. I had to mention Gustavo there, but I'll post his email address now. It wasn't clear who will get. Okay, so if you're thinking about crypto, then you probably have some idea why you're here. So what we're doing is we're protecting communication from, say, Alice. Well, there's 2 people. You can do much better drawings, I'm sure. So there's user Alice, there's user Bob. And Alice wants to send Bob a message. Now, if Alice just shouted across the room, then anybody will hear it, and if it was something that Alice didn't want anybody else to know, then having some eavesdropper here. So Eve will play the role of the eavesdropper, then you have a problem. So we will send, instead of plain text M, we will send what is called ciphertext. So just to fix some words, Alice encrypts a message M to Bob, and then the result of an encryption we call the ciphertext, so there's always our little C there, so obtaining ciphertext C. And then our model is that there's no protection on this channel. This is like, of course, there are laws which tell your internet provider or your letter provider, like the post, not to look at your letters. However, you don't trust those guys. This is like when you were at school and you want to send a message to somebody else, you put it on a sheet of paper, you fold it, and then you write on the outside, hey, this could go to that person over there. And then most of your classmates are nice people, they pass it along. And then you always have this nasty person who goes like, oh, what are they talking about? Let's open this. Or you have a teacher going like, kids, you're not supposed to communicate. And then to everybody's embarrassment, or at least those two people's embarrassment, the teacher opens the letter and reads out, hey, do you want to go to ice cream with me? That might be embarrassing for a little kid. Nowadays you have better secrets to send. So our attack model is that if the eavesdropper, or me, the teacher, or whatever is your big adversary, we usually try to think of, say, defending against the NSA, Eve can see everything that goes over the channel. So Eve has full access to C. Eve can obtain all ciphertext Cs, and she can also try to be active. So we distinguish between passive attackers that only listens, and active attackers that also try to manipulate the ciphertext. So E has access to everything sent, and an active E may also modify. So that wouldn't be the teacher embarrassing people, that would be the sneaky student trying to imitate the first student's handwriting and change the time for the meeting at the ice cream from 9 o'clock to 19 o'clock, and thereby making the people not meet and getting angry with one another. So there is something that crypto is supposed to achieve. Crypto is supposed to achieve that Eve, even though she has access to everything, does not get any information about it. So she doesn't learn anything about M. Now that property we call confidentiality. So encryption should achieve confidentiality. So E does not learn anything about M. So she sees the ciphertext and should not be able to have any idea what the message was. Now, you can tighten that, you can loosen it. For instance, you might say, well, I don't really care if Eve learns how long the message was. If all the messages are 32 gigabytes, then okay, well, she's learned to sending a movie or something, or a collection of photos, but she won't learn the contents of it. Or sometimes you actually want to hide that. Sometimes you want to go even as far as hiding that the message was sent. So sometimes you'll add cover traffic. So sometimes you will, at every time interval, like every minute, you will send a short message. And most of the time it's garble stuff, which nobody can decrypt, and then sometimes it's the real message. That is getting on a higher level than crypto usually handles. That's more on the privacy protection. For crypto, we just say, well, Eve knows there's a ciphertext. She can take the ciphertext, you can look at it, turn it, break it, put it in a supercomputer, wait for 100 years, and she still shouldn't be able to get anything about the contents of the thread. She doesn't know that there was a message. Then we want to have that Eve is not able to change the content, so she can't just change meet me for ice cream at 9 o'clock to 19 o'clock. So there is a requirement of integrity. So E cannot change the message M that is decrypted. So this one requires a little bit of explanation. So if you imagine like somebody sends a whole stream of bits and bytes, so of course you can flip some bits. So Eve is of course able to modify the message. What integrity means is that when Bob receives the message, Bob will notice that something has happened to the message and will say, well, this has been tampered with. This is not the original message. So this means that tampering is detected. And then again, sometimes you're able to recover the message, but in principle, it might just be lost. The important part is Bob will not think that Alice sent something. So the ice cream example is kind of cute and innocent, but if you have like two people and one person suddenly saying, hey, let's kill the President of the United States, then that would be quite a thing. So if Bob is believing that Alice sent that, then Bob might want to go to the police, or Bob might go like, yes, great idea, whichever political attitude Bob has. But Eve shouldn't be able to incite Bob into believing that Alice sent that. Okay, and then finally, there's authenticity. That means that Bob is convinced that Alice sent the message. So Eve cannot impersonate Alice. So this goes in the same direction as integrity. You want to make sure that you're acting on the correct information. But in this case, it's not that the content has changed, but maybe the person over there is happy to go for ice cream with this person, but not so excited about going for ice cream with this person. Now, if this person could impersonate him over there, then suddenly the person over there goes like, hey, yeah, ice cream is cool, I'm coming. And then instead of nice guy over here, sorry, you got the loser card today, this guy shows up, and then, well, hilarity ensues. So impersonation means you're pretending to be somebody else, and crypto, when done properly, should protect against this. So this person should not be able to impersonate somebody else. Now, there are different flavors of this. So the most restrictive is Eve cannot impersonate A to B. And sometimes you can even achieve that you can't impersonate to anybody. But in our case, it's just a two-way communication, A talking to Bob. So Bob is receiving a message, and Bob is sure it comes from Alice. So B can be sure M came from A. Now if you need to remember those things, it's a little weird, but if you look at the initials, it's maybe easy to remember this way. So somehow you have the CIA and FBI and NSA coming up. I love what you talk about. All right, so I don't know about your motivations why you took a class in crypto, but like for most people, the initial encounter with anything secret or crypto or something is, I have to figure out how to hold this thing. Nah, this way. Yeah. Well, it's holding for now. I don't know whether you can see that. That's the downside of having a big classroom. Nope. Okay, then we need to use tooling. Okay, just hold it. So this is so easy, I'm willing to hold it for a while. Now, of course, you can make me get my arms labeled. So this is one of those typical things you find in the newspaper, Sunday edition. Each symbol stands for exactly one letter. There are some gaps which actually mean gaps between words. And people in the back row hopefully have good eyes or a nice zoom on their cameras. Do you see anything? Let me highlight some pieces. You can see that there's a single letter here, and they're not too many. Oh, I should also say it's English. There are not too many single letter words in English. Who can think of a single letter word in English? A, okay. So probably this thing there is an A. And then we find another A here, over there. And then we find a two-letter word, also not too many. And there's another A, something. Yes?
Why do you assume it's an A when it could be an I as well?
That's true. I can give it away, it's an A, but you're absolutely right. It could also be an I.
Okay.
Yes? Good observation. There are now 2 candidates, 1 letter words, of which I've chosen A for some particular reason. I should also say this is the same alphabet as down here, it continues. So you also can observe that there is some overlap here and there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Whoa.
Did I get all the A's? No, there's another one. Any more guesses of letters? Pieces? Anything? Yes?
And it's a guess, but kind of fits that the first 3 words is this is a.
This is a.
That's
So
the final half of the first word. Yeah, is equal to the second word. That's.
this is would be natural, and there's also a nice overlap from here to down there, which would be another th. Well, so let's base on this guess for a moment. All right, this gives us a whole bunch of more candidates. Now, at the same time, we're getting less sure about those, but let's be optimistic. There's a T there. This would be another I. Don't know any of those. Big T. That sounds pretty good. Well, let's put stupid here for the moment. I'm taking optimistic guesses here, at least it works. I'm also filling in some more letters based on optimistic guesses. I'm not sure we're having anything else yet. I would have the W there. No, we don't have that one. There will be U.
Oh, but it's 3 back. Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, that was T already has a head. Thank you. Probably no more with this.
This is a stupid way to repeat at least you.
Okay. Taking lots of guesses here. We haven't had an A yet, so an E yet. Oh, we had the Y already. And you said probably U. I'm missing letters that are already on the board, so there's lots of letters in this word which we have already. There's a O, U. And then we also have the L already from the guest here. There's another E. And here's the words. Okay, there's another missing here. And there was a the here already. Yes. So what's here? I hear some B sounds. Huh? Okay. P we had already. And C and E. All right. Good. So lesson learned. Okay. So of course you can do better. If you were to design like the super secret encryption system, you would definitely leave out the spaces. This is giving away way too much. On the other hand, I also want to make it solvable. But you did use more things than just the spaces. You also used probably, well, can't look into it, but you also used like, well, this came from one of you saying this is a repetition. And so you're guessing this is, and this is a repetition from up here to down there. So you have a the and you have a this. And then you have the OU in U and you have the OU in out. So you can look at combinations of letters, that's called digraphs, and you can look at combinations of letters like articles and so on that appear together a lot. So it's not just the spaces, there's a lot of other things going wrong in it. Now this is an example of a simple substitution cipher. So and the typical way is that is each letter becomes a symbol. And so then you might carry it around your translation disk, which, like, if I ever get stuck with this exercise, you know, I printed my method to figure out, okay, well, this secret symbol was an O. And there are some actually that you wouldn't be able to guess from there because we didn't have an X on there. So if you now, in another ciphertext encounter an X, you wouldn't know that it's this symbol, which stands for X. But most of the symbols you get, so as the eavesdropper, as the attacker, you actually can recover most of this by doing some solution, like by cryptanalyzing it this way. So to break it, look for digraphs. That means 2 letters and other frequent combinations. And so most languages that come somewhere from Latin are based on like the Latin alphabet. You have a lot of things which are similar. You have a way of how you turn a verb into a noun. Like you have, in English you also have like the present tense, you have the ing form and such things. So you have lots of things which always appear there. So in Dutch you have a way to turn a word into a noun by adding something in. So if you're analyzing Dutch, you will search for, okay, what is the normal combination of 3 letters which appears somewhere at the end of words, and then you get that. So in the dark ages, like World War I and II, the military was using these digraph and trigraph tables. So someone was in a library where they stored these kind of oversized format books of, okay, you have to figure out which language the ciphertext is likely to be from, and then you go and figure out how to, like what the frequencies are of those. In principle, you get 26 factorial, so lots and lots of possibilities to assign 26 symbols to 26 letters. So it's 26 factorial ways to assign 26 letters to 26 symbols. So you have any way of permuting them. However, because of all the features of natural languages, you don't actually get that. I mean, it still doesn't get you a secure text. Now you could try to could tweak the system by taking, like, most frequent letters will be E and then N and S and T and so on. So you would take some of those frequent letters and replacing them with two different symbols by turning E into two, or say for E, let's choose 3 different symbols. S into 2. So instead of having 26 symbols, you're going for something like 35 symbols, because you have a bunch of letters which appear at least twice as often as others. So you multiply them by 2 and then you pick randomly which one to choose. Now that gives you like 35 symbols. But if you have a long enough text, so for instance, we were going for like the different article, and yes, the E will often enough be one or the other. And maybe the T is also multiplied by 2. So then you have 2 times 3 different possibilities. You have 6 different possibilities what the could encrypt to, depending on the 2 choices for T and the 3 choices for E. But if you have like a long text, well, you'll only hit every 6th occurrence, but that's probably still enough to see repetitions. Now, last example before the break is like the kind of really old example, Cedar cipher. Now, Cedar is alleged to have said, okay, let's encrypt A, B, C, B, E, F, G, H, etc. by shifting forward 4 letters. So the original Cedar cipher says, let's move A to D, then B moves to E. So we just write the shifted alphabet down here, G, H, and then at the end we would have X, Y, and Z, and those would map to A, B, and C. And so if you now want to encrypt Alice, gets me. Then A goes to D, A L in white, I goes to L, C goes to F, E goes to H, and if I remember correctly, L goes to E. So to decrypt then you just look this direction. So you see this line, and you decrypt to the above. Now, we don't know whether Caesar had noticed that he could turn this one encryption into many encryptions, but in order to get into somewhat more modern territory, we would consider this as a first example of a keyed encryption scheme. So instead of just shifting A to D, you could also imagine that instead of A to D, you shift A to I. So you agree on how far you shift. In this example, we kind of have a key, which is the complete assignment of letters to symbols, but it's also a very clumsy thing, so we have to have a full table. Here we have one small thing to carry around, namely you know how far you shifted, and that is your key. So we can turn this into a keyed encryption. By a keyed encryption, we mean that we have C is the encryption under some key K of some message M. So C is encryption under K of M. And similarly, there's the decryption function, which also uses the same key. So the decryption of K key of the ciphertext, so we're getting M. And well, they better be each other's inverses. So if you have the decryption under key K of the encryption under key K of a message gives you the message. And so for Caesar, the way we do this, as I said, by varying the shift distance. So for instance, the key is the knowledge that A maps to M. And so then you don't want to have like a single sheet which has your alphabet, but you actually want to have something more like this, where you can have your outer letters, that's the plain text, and then the inner letters are the ciphertext. So if you say that A, say, maps to M, then we turn this thing until we have that A maps to M, and then under the key that A maps to M, we want to encrypt what Bob is. So instead of Alice, we now say Bob. Now, okay, if A maps to M, then the next letter maps to N, so that's easy. And then for O, I don't know this offhand, so I have to search for O on my alphabet, which is, oops, shift. A goes to M, then O goes to A. So instead of sending Bob, he would say NAM. And then the last thing, well, as mathematicians, we prefer numbers over letters. So instead of saying A till Z, we will start saying 0 till 25. So then instead of saying, well, shift A to M, we say, well, we add so and so much to the letter. So more mathy. We represent letters by numbers. So A goes to 0, B goes to 1, etc. until Z goes to 25. Then P becomes a number, an integer. Well, it only matters between 0 and 25. And encryption becomes addition mod 26. So original Caesar says A goes 4 positions further. So to B would be +1, to C would be +2, to D would be +4. So original Caesar SK equals 4. So the first thing is we would translate Alice to numbers. So Alice would be 0. Oh gosh, I have to count it far. Nah, let's not do that. And then we just include by saying +4. So E I can do. E is number 4. Yeah. And then 4 + 4 would be 8. So this is something which is just a different way of encoding. In the end, this is nothing a human would be doing. This is something your computer would be doing. But your computer is a lot happier operating on numbers, or actually on bits, than it is to operate on letters. So your computer will be happy to take an instruction saying, hey, to every of these numbers add 7, whereas you as a human would be probably happier to work with letters. Now, in your computer, all those letters get represented by numbers anyway, not the numbers between 0 and 25, but say ASCII numbers between 0 and 255. And then we can also define some operation on those representations. This is not getting any more or less secure. I mean, Caesar is still a pretty crappy cipher, and after the break, we'll look into how we would break it. It is even weaker than the example we did at the beginning, because you actually just shift. It's not a random permutation. So it is much worse. On the other hand, I put it as a later example because it nicely segues into the next example. Running a bit behind time, so let's do 15 minutes of break and start according to this clock, which I know is not very accurate, but according to this clock, we start at 48.